Quick question. Who's actually guarding your calendar right now? Who's actually guarding your task list right now? Who's actually guarding the goals you have? Not who you would like to have be your guardian of it, but who's actually doing it? Because I bet for most of you, the honest answer is nobody. Whoever asks the loudest gets the time. Whose ever email gets the biggest block letters in screaming caps will get the yes. Whoever is willing to push whatever buttons need to get pushed all the way through, get into your system, right into the middle of your hours, maybe into your evenings where you're supposed to be with your family, you're supposed to be working on your goals. And whoever's willing to push the hardest goes all the way through, right through the middle of your home hours, your time with your goals, the time that you're supposed to be spending with your own 2 feet on the ground, maybe outside. And here's the thing is that no one's building a wall for you. And that's the topic today. You're the front guardian to the battles that you're going to be fighting in your own life. And you don't have to just hold the line for no purpose, because no one else is standing there that's going to hold that line for you. Hi, everyone. Jill from the North Woods. I hope that you're doing well today. The idea here is that if you take a real stretch of time where someone you let walk right across your schedule, right over your boundaries that you should have had. Well, I was going to leave work at 5, but now I'm going to stay till 6. The job that ate your evenings apart, that when you promised your family you would be home, or a relationship that is costing you more than you anticipated it for you to do. A yes that you gave out of guilt. And now instead of holding a genuine willingness to do whatever it is you said yes to, now it is guilt that is holding you to it and is costing you more than you ever imagined. And if you look at the emotional cost of all of this, there's going to be this erosion of your life, of the things that you really think matter in your life, your family, your relationships, your friends, your exercise time, whatever it is. And resentment is going to start building in when you see parts of your life going away that you can't get back. You'll start getting exhausted. You'll start being angry that you're always the flexible one. And maybe you might start getting some kind of grief of realizing that you're in a season with your kids or the people you love that you were hoping to spend time with them, and now something else that didn't deserve it got all that time. And so here is the turn of it. The moment you realize that no one else is going to protect your time for you, that no one is going to guard you, your sleep time, your exercise time, your time with your family, your time to maintain healthiness, the time to pray or read the Bible, that waiting for someone or something or someone else to notice and step in and stop whatever it is that's going on is just plain hoping. The first boundary that you have to actually hold, even though it feels maybe uncomfortable or selfish, are the boundaries in your own life. And if you understand that nobody is coming, nobody is coming to, you always thought about that. Like, I would work late. I would be the one person who always worked late. And you would sort of think, well, maybe my vice president will notice I'm always the person working late. And maybe they'll come in and they'll step in and say, no, Jill, you're the one who came in the last emergency. We'll get someone else to come in for this next emergency. It's a rare boss that does that. Because the thing of it is that you have to do that. You have to be the person that does it. And if no one ever told you that, I guess, clearly enough, it's not, I guess, a statement of faith or a self-help slogan. It's just how the world works. It's just how it all works. Nobody else is incentivized to protect your time, your priorities, your goal, the things that are important to your life, the people, the healthy habits, because people, it's not because they're bad. Most of them aren't. It's because everyone else is so busy protecting their own lives that they're not looking around to everybody else's life that they can protect. Your employer is protecting deadlines, outputs, demands that need to get done at work that are important to get done. That's nothing against them. That's what their job is to protect what needs, the work that actually needs to happen. Even a demanding friend is protecting their own comfort by including you in their plans. People who love you might be getting so wrapped up in their own needs that they don't even notice that you have needs too. And they're stepping on your time without any sort of concern because they're just so engrossed in what's going on with them. And so it's not cynicism. I guess it's just clarity. That's what life is. And clarity is what will give you this ability to stop waiting for someone else to hand you permission to protect what matters in your life. So if we get specific about it, what this actually means, what's actually getting fought over, because protecting your life sounds pretty vague, and it does until you start naming what the real fronts are in this battle. First of all, your time, the most finite thing you have. It's easiest thing for people to take a piece of time without maybe even asking your permission. And so every yes you give away without thinking about it is a yes that you're not giving to something else, someone, something more important. And that's the important thing. I think it's easy, particularly me, right? I grew up poor. I didn't have money. I couldn't give money. I couldn't give things. I didn't have a house or anything that I could offer for someone to stay in. The only thing I had that I could give away freely was my time. And so for me to feel generous, I gave it away by the buckets because it was the only thing I had. But you find out it's really one of the things that matters the most because we have a finite amount of time on this planet for now. And so your family time too might be another battlefront. And this one is the one I think in hindsight hurts people the most. Jobs will end, they'll come and go, projects wrap up, but a missed time with your people that you love doesn't come back. And sometimes if you don't defend that with purpose, the time will get spent on default about whatever's the loudest thing that week. But sometimes those people will notice that they are never part of your priority and maybe they don't come back, or maybe it'll be hard to get them back. Your goals. This one's a hard, slow one. You think about like the book you wanted to read, the certification you wanted to get, the health goals you have, the exercise time you meant to go. I keep saying I'm going to go camping again. I went camping early in May. I want to go camping again. I don't have the time, and that kind of starts eating away at it all the time. I had a big goal to go camping several times a year, and that goal is getting nibbled at all the time. Those are the easiest casualties of all of this because no one's demanding that you work on your own goals. There's no deadline pressure from the boss except for you to be the guardian of it, which means if you don't protect your hours that you're working on your own goals, it will simply just never happen. And it's, like I said, not going to be dramatic in any sort of way. It's just slowly eroding the time that you were going to spend working on your own goals. For me, that was exercise. It's the one thing I give up first. If I'm really busy, I worked on a certification, I give up my exercise time. I can figure out ways of eating healthy, but when anything hit, like my time just gets completely messed up, I give up on exercise. And if I do it long enough, I won't have my health to give me everything else. And so then there are people who are bad for you, like relationships that cost you more than they give. They maybe are sucking away your energy, your self-respect, your trust in other people, and they just take and take and take, and they keep getting reinvited into your life because sometimes ending a relationship feels harder than it should. And you feel like it's just easier to tolerate it. It's just easy enough for, okay, so this person asked me to come over and help them move all the time, or, spends hours, I guess, crying on my shoulder, but never asking me how I am. And I'm not saying to be selfish. I'm just saying that it's not a two-way street in this relationship. Sometimes in every relationship, you are the person who is there for that other person. But other times you're the person, and it usually takes a bit of a turn. But when you recognize that that person is actually a threat to things inside of your life, it's puts in a demand that you protect against it, that you act not just as like a circumstance to manage, but you sort of look at the relationship as a whole. Like I said, I don't want to make it sound as crass as that because there are times where people need you. They lean on you. They have nothing to give, and that's okay. But like I said, at some point, you have to realize, has it gone too far? Then there's jobs, jobs that eat what they shouldn't. Some jobs are simply designed with you and your family and your health in the equation. And they are pretty good jobs to have because, I'm in a job right now. They want me to stop working at the end of working time. So they're pretty respectful of that. But there are other jobs that I've been out there that will eat everything. Your time with your family, your time with your friends, the time with your health. Everything's in the equation. They take everything from you hour by hour. And if you don't find a way to protect itself, even a good job can still be actively bad for your life. And that's, it never shows up on the payroll, right? You never get paid for those lost hours. I have been in a job that demanded your whole life. And I got involved in a project. And at the end of it, I was working 100 to 120 hours a week. I know it sounds impossible. I would wake up on Saturday morning and work until I had to go to bed at, 2 in the morning on Saturday night. And Sunday, it would be the same thing again. My life was not getting protected. I've been in other jobs where they're very respectful of your time. And so you have to just see where it's at. So what does being your own guardian look like? What does defending your own front line feel like when it's in practice? And it really isn't this dramatic showdown, which I think is why we're all scared to do it. It's just small, repeated decisions. So instead of saying, yes, you could also look at it like saying, well, let me check and get back to you a little bit later. Not an automatic yes. That gives you an actual chance to check against it. There are times where maybe you do have to work late. It just has to happen. Something has to get done. But maybe it doesn't have to be you. And maybe if you just say, let me go ahead and check and I'll get back to you, maybe someone else will be found who has a little bit more flexibility at this moment. Maybe it looks like blocking your time for your goals. There's a concept of time blocking where you actually create a calendar of your perfect week. This is when I exercise. This is when I read. This is when I pray. And I started working on something that's a little bit different. There's a fellow out there named Mike Schmitz, who, not the father, but does productivity podcasts. And he talks about it as time boxing, where a time block would be, I'm going to spend this particular amount of time and I'm going to go ahead and knit. I'm not doing that. I am just saying in this box, I am going to do something that is recreational, something that is relaxing before I go to bed. So the box is more about me kind of giving the mood. What kind of Jill is going to show up at that time? So time boxing and time blocking for your goals, for your family time, for your friends' time before the week fills in around it, because now it gives you a structure that you can protect. Now you know, well, yeah, I could actually work a little bit later on Wednesdays. That's fine. Because on Tuesday, I go to my friend's house. On Thursday, I actually am on a tech podcast. I can't do it on Thursdays. But Wednesdays, that's fine. I could work a little bit later on Wednesday without it really destroying my time schedule. So now I have some nuance in it where I actually can be helpful to my job, if that's what it is, or helpful to a friend who needs my time, because I know exactly what my week should look like. It's like, naming a person or a job as costly, even privately, even if you're really willing to do anything, because you can't defend what you don't understand as exist. If you haven't looked at your time, if you haven't looked at what you're going to do when, and that doesn't mean filling in every moment of the day. It's just having a good rough schedule of what your day looks like. But you can't defend it if you don't even know what it is you're trying to defend, what time spaces you're trying to protect against. So the time boxing will help you name the person you're supposed to be with, maybe your spouse, your children, the times you work, the times that you do have other obligations. Now you can defend it because you know what it looks like. And sometimes if your life looks like disappointing someone, feels like it's on purpose sometimes, because their disappointment is, I guess, harder on you and harsher on you than you just giving up what it is that you wanted to do. Well, yeah, of course I can, give up my knitting time and I can come over and help you move. Sometimes that happens, right? But sometimes it's because we feel that being a disappointment to other people is easier to do than being a disappointment to our own health, our own relaxation time. And I understand that, but like I said, as soon as you identify what it is you're giving up, now you'll be able to have a more intellectual conversation about that. And so none of this is selfish in and of itself. If you think of it, I've been using it as a guardian who defends their line. A soldier who defends a line so that they don't lose ground isn't selfish. Everybody loses who's behind that soldier if they lose that line. It's the same thing here. If you don't protect your time, if you don't protect your goals, your family loses out, your friends lose out, your job will even lose out, and maybe your health will lose out, and you will find it very hard to get that back. Protecting your own front line is a very real way to protect other people too. Because if you don't protect your health, your family is going to lose you. If you don't protect your goals, maybe something that you were supposed to, like you're building a backyard porch or something like that, or you're just trying to make your own home business that will make your lives better. All of that is lost. And other people behind that will be unprotected too if you don't do that protection. So if you want to go deeper on this, there's a really great book called Boundaries by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. And it is a classic for a reason. It's the clearest breakdown I know of about why boundaries feel wrong and when they're right, and how actually to hold them without the guilt holding you, eating you alive. So your small step for today, I guess, is name one line that has been getting crossed a lot lately. Is it a person crossing that line? Is it your job? Is it a chunk of time? One of those things that you can define that you really need to hold the line on. And maybe just once, try it out. You don't have to fill the whole situation all at once. Just one time so you can prove to yourself that you're willing to defend the line. Defend the line and see how it goes. I have friends who work in differently scheduled kinds of jobs. And every time that there is a chance to basically break what it is that they were trying to do inside of their own lives, they're willing to take it. And at some point, they wake up, 20 years later, wondering why their lives haven't progressed at all. So, like I said, give yourself a chance. Try to stand on one particular line. Everyone, thanks so much. Appreciate you being out there. You can find everything I do and how to contact me at jillfromthenorthwoods.com. I'd love to hear from you, either an email or you can comment if you're watching this on video. Thanks so much. Have a great day.